The man suffered from severe obsessive-compulsive disorder. He could never make physical contact with strangers, and he absolutely could not step on cracks in the pavement. Every time he returned home, he had to lock the door 5 times in a row. Then he would turn the lights on and off 5 times. He never reused gloves. His cabinets were always stuffed with bars of soap. Each one was washed with scalding water and then thrown away. Only after washing the 3rd bar did he finally relent. But his quirks didn't stop there. He also had a sharp, caustic tongue, lashing out at everyone and everything. Despite his age, he had never been in a relationship, and he had no friends he could truly talk to. Yet this rare specimen possessed extraordinary writing talent. He had completed 61 romance novels, all of which sold extremely well. Even so, he still hadn't found the meaning of life. Everything changed when a little dog appeared. The neighbor's dog had been relieving itself everywhere, so Melvin threw it into the trash chute. Soon, the neighbor Simon noticed the dog was missing. Seeing Melvin leaving, he asked if he had seen his pet. Melvin not only mocked him as a gay, but also insulted his black boyfriend, Frank. Frank, hearing such racist remarks, immediately flew into a rage. If Simon hadn't stopped him in time, he would have beaten Melvin badly. Not long after, Simon learned the truth from the dorm supervisor and stormed over to confront Melvin. But before he could speak, Melvin scolded him, warning him not to waste his writing time, and slammed the door, leaving Simon stunned. Just as he tried to get back to work, there was another knock at the door. Agitated, Melvin appeared at the door with a dark scowl, only to be grabbed by the collar and pulled outside. Frank had no patience like Simon and knew exactly how to exploit Melvin's quirks. Step by step, he cornered him, scaring Melvin into hiding in a corner, screaming in panic. It turned out that besides being a germaphobe and OCD sufferer, Melvin was extremely averse to physical contact with strangers. Seeing this tactic work, Frank warned him never to bother Simon again and never touch his dog. Once Frank left, Melvin reverted to his usual irritating self, walking the streets with exaggerated, careful steps to avoid strangers and cracks in the pavement. At the restaurant, Melvin's expression suddenly darkened. He marched over to a couple and mercilessly berated them until they left. Only then did he sit down, relieved. He had already claimed this seat as his personal territory and wouldn't allow anyone else to occupy it. The waitress Carol approached and warned him not to think being a regular meant he could do whatever he wanted. If it happened again, she would kick him out. Normally irritable, Melvin surprisingly didn't get angry. Carol was one of the few people he didn't dislike. But when she reminded him that junk food was bad for his health, Melvin couldn't resist making sarcastic remarks. Seeing Carol's expression turn icy, Melvin finally realized he had made a big mistake. Regulars like her all knew she had a chronically ill son, and his remarks were like rubbing salt in the wound. Yet, stubborn as ever, Melvin let her scold him freely. Back at home, he discovered Simon had encountered a gang of thugs. They stole his money and beat him up. If Melvin hadn't called the police in time, the outcome could have been disastrous. Simon was sent to the hospital for treatment, leaving his dog unattended. Melvin stood by, watching as Frank carried the dog, going door to door for help, and couldn't help but let out a mocking chuckle.